Hello, welcome everybody. It's great to see you all here today. Hope you had a great bank holiday. Just to go through what we'll be covering today. So we'll do an introduction to SOS-UK, who we are and the work that we do. We'll be going through the statistics and achievements from this year's teaching. We've had a really great reach this year and we really want to share that with everybody. And we'll go through the leaderboards and the special awards that we've given out as well. We'll go through a range of the different case studies that we've been sent through from a range of different areas of curriculums and also different types of institutions as well. We'll be going through our programs, SOS-UK's programs, which help to support with embedding sustainability and learning, and that can be done through a range of different institutions. And we'll also have a time to reflect, as the webinar states, so we really wanted a space for everybody to reflect on the teaching and how it went at the university or institution, and also the dates for your diary for next year's teaching as well. So I'll just be starting by doing an introduction to SOS-UK. I'm sure you are already familiar with us and what we do, but I thought I'd give a short introduction to just remind you of our missions and aims as an educational charity. So we were formed in 2019 by the NUS, the National Union of Students, and this was mostly in response to the climate and ecological emergency, and also to go further and faster with the transformational sustainability work. So we are working to move sustainability from being a niche subject that relatively few study to something that all students learn about. So we strongly believe that all students should be sustainability students. And we also wish to create cohort after cohort of positive solution-driven students who go on to make the world a more sustainable place. And we are also working to shift society from an obsession with short-term profit to long-term benefit as well. So we aim to do this by getting more students leading on and learning about sustainability. And we aim to embed sustainability in formal education, but also informal and subliminal. And that is right through from early years to adult learning. And then we also aim to make sustainability more inclusive for everyone. So we run a range of different programs to create positive change here and now through student and staff action for sustainability, as well as national systems change campaigns, such as the SDG Teach In, to deliver long-lasting shifts towards climate justice. So I'll be going through the statistics and achievements of this year's teaching, and we will be sharing a campaign report more widely in May, and we're just waiting on a few more survey responses for that as well. So it'd be great if you could fill those out. So as I've mentioned before, this year has been our largest reach yet, which has been really exciting. So in terms of educators pledged, we had 772, and they pledged to incorporate the SDGs into their teaching and learning. And we had 141,369 students and learners who were reached through lessons, workshops, and a range of different tutorials as well. And we had over 134 educational institutions who took part, and that included schools, colleges, universities, and also a range of different training providers as well. And I could see that quite a few of you in the chat box are from a range of different ones, from primary schools to colleges, universities. So it's great to have you all here today as well. So here are some stats from the very first campaign in 2018 to show how the reach of the teaching has grown significantly over the last 5 years. So most specifically, students' reach and educators' pledge has grown year by year. So as you can see here, the educators' pledge in 2018 was 257. And this year in 2022, it was 772. So it has really grown, and it's really great to see how much this has grown as well. And so, yeah, we need partnership for the goals, and we really need to work together on this. And we can't do it without you. So thank you for really showing out this year. And hopefully next year, we aim to see over 1,000 educators pledging, over 200,000 students reach, and also over 250 institutions involved. So we want to continue growing the teaching year by year, so to reach as many students in all levels of education as possible. And we also wish for the teaching to be the main catalyst for institutions to continue embedding their SDGs long after the campaign, and also encouraging educators to insist on ESD in all areas of curriculum as well. So based on that, we strongly believe that all students should be sustainability students, and that is no matter their chosen subject. So here we can see a word cloud, which shows how many different subject areas have embedded the SDGs through this year's teaching. So the bigger words mean that they're more common. So as you can see, there's a lot of administrative study type modules or courses that took part as well. And there's business and education too. So there's some more specific modules, and some of those included a master's in medical biosciences, festival management in the first year, BA accountancy, level 1 and level 2 in introduction to culinary skills, BA in language and linguistics. So there's a range of different subjects that were involved as the SDGs kind of interconnect all of them. And yeah, just as I just said, as you can see here, the SDGs are strongly connected and widely interdependent on each other.
Hey, how are you? No, you're good.
Sorry, and this is why a wide breadth of different subject areas are exemplified by those seen on the past slide and can be connected at least one of the 17 SDGs. And many subjects can involve multiple or even all of the SDGs as well. And we had really, really huge global reach this year as well, even more so than last year. So although the majority of educators and institutions were from the UK, teaching took place in 20 countries on 5 continents. So we've got a range here, as you can see, USA, Colombia, Nigeria, India, China, Japan, Malta. We've got a range of different ones on here. And some of the countries that are not displayed on the actual map here are Bangladesh, Switzerland, Morocco, Tunisia, and also Turkey. So we had really great reach, and hopefully we can expand that even more next year as well. So in our post-teaching survey, we asked educators what skills they feel that their students developed from the teaching. And here are some of the responses. So some said that lateral thinking, business students learned that any part of the value chain can impact areas that they hadn't thought about originally. There's empathy and determination, empathy and working with people, understanding lived experiences, courage to ask questions of those in positions of power or influence, awareness of themselves as influencers for change, listening, reflection on learning, and also interpersonal relations and capacity building as well. And then we also asked students what their skills they felt that they had learned or honed in from the teaching. And they said that they have a wider awareness of sustainability in every topic. They said that they have a much broader understanding of pressing issues and have discovered many things that they have not considered before. So geopolitics, and also the complexity of fuel insecurity and its future as well. And also self-esteem, which is quite a big one as well, especially in relation to sustainability. And another student said a wide range of interdisciplinary skills, including critical thinking, and also understanding how they could take control of their actions to make a difference. And we also have social and cultural awareness and innovation. So as you can see, the skills that the educators and the students themselves identified are quite similar, and it's really showing how it really does make a benefit and make a difference as well to do things relating to the SDGs. So now let's have a look through this year's leaderboard to see who had the most educators pledge at their institution, and also who reached the most students as well. So first we have educators pledge. So in first place was University of Derby. So they had 71 educators who pledged. Then second was University of Exeter with 68. And third was Ulster University with 63. So we saw some really high numbers of educators who teach across a range of different subjects. And it was excellent to see some of the same universities from last year, but also some really new ones on the leaderboard as well this year. So fourth was GCU. 5th was University of West England, 6th was GMIT, 7th Bournemouth, 8th Hearts of Worcestershire College, 9th Exeter College, and 10th is University of Worcester. And then we have students reached. So in first place was GCU, Glasgow Caledonian, for reaching 82% of the student body. Then we had Solihull College, which was at 62%. And third was Oldham Sixth Form College with 51%. So it was really wonderful to see a range of different further education institutions in second and third for student reach. And yeah, overall, we really want to expand the reach of the teaching. So it's great to see colleges on board and on the leaderboard as well. So fourth place, we had GMIT, 5th, we had University of Exeter. 6th was Oxford Brookes. 7th was University of Derby. 8th, Exeter College. 9th, Ulster. And 10th was Falmouth University. And as well as those who placed on the leaderboards, we also give out additional awards to institutions who have excelled across the different spheres of education. So we have a further education winner, which was Solihull College and University Centre. We had a primary education winner, so that's Rowan Bank Environmental Arts and Education in Scotland. We had a Students' Union winner, so that's the Northumbria Students' Union. An international winner, so that's El Sharouk Academy in Egypt. And we also had an informal education winner, which was the Green Foundation in Nigeria. So congratulations to everybody who took part as well. And hopefully we'll see you at the next one. And hope to see your institution on the leaderboard there as well. So now for the exciting part, we'll be going through a range of different case studies that we were sent. And yeah, so these studies span the formal, informal, and also the subliminal curriculum. And they range from primary schools, colleges, universities. And just a reminder as well, if you haven't sent us your case study yet, you still can. And we'd really love to see how you embedded the SDGs during the teaching. So you'll find my email address at the end of the slide deck, which will be sent after the webinar as well. So you can always send them directly to me as well. So firstly, we have the Heart of Worcestershire College. So during the teaching, students studying the L3 Extended Diploma in Health and Social Care reviewed a report from the King's Fund about the impact of the health and social care sector on the environment. So they discussed how there is an increasing need to factor in the wider context, social and environmental, of patient health. So by broadening this over time, sustainability should be embedded into health and social care. So the students brainstormed small changes that the healthcare sector can make that would have a big impact. So their ideas included how we deliver care. Is it better to bring care to the service user or bring groups of service users together to receive care? Integrating and planning so that the sector can avoid duplication, being prepared for environmental challenges, and the importance of only doing things that work, so nothing more wasteful than treatments that don't work. So 8 of the 17 goals were considered, and that includes good health and well-being, industry, innovation and infrastructure, and also climate action. So the next one I have is at Dunard Primary School in Glasgow, and all of the students were challenged to complete tasks related to the SDGs with a member of their family or a part of their community. So students were given bronze, silver and gold awards depending on the number of tasks that they had completed. And here is a quote directly from one of the teachers as well. So they said that each year was given an individual goal to focus on, links to watch, the world's biggest lesson, and clips to watch explaining how this SDG aspiration affects them and now and in the future. So each year was given 8 challenges across curriculum areas, including literacy, art and design, STEM and outdoor learning. And students were able to pick and choose which challenges they'd like to complete. So to ensure equity for all, some activities were completed with support within the school and set up a Dunard community event on a Saturday morning. All parents were invited and saw families on a guided walk along the canal, litter picking and investing goals 14 and 15. So families were also taught about sustainable infrastructure and the history of the wonderful Glasgow Canal. Challenges were ranked on completion and children received certificates based on how many were achieved. Overall, the day was a huge success. And yeah, within this, 12 of the 17 goals were considered, and that included no poverty, life below water, and also life on land. And the next one is at West Lothian College, and they arranged a range of outdoor, sustainable and active experiences for 70 children and young people from Deadridge Primary School, Southdale Primary School, and Lincolngo Academy. So the outdoor sustainable activities included planting, basket weaving, renewable energy workshops, making bug gardens, and eco arts and crafts. So the main vision was to create an interactive, engaging, and also partnership-driven event that would highlight the SDGs. So 11 of the 17 SDGs were considered within this particular case study, and that included quality education, responsible consumption and production, and also partnerships for the goals. And the IT service practice module within the School of Computer Science and Informatics at DMU included a lecture and discussion looking at the importance of digital transformation in the delivery of the SDGs. And they examined how each of the technology areas were impacting on the SDGs. So technology reports and links were shared with students, including the role of artificial intelligence in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, the role of Internet of Things as a sustainable development, how blockchain can be the key that unlocks the SDGs, and also accelerating sustainable development with hyper automation. So within this, 7 of the 17 goals were considered, and that included affordable and clean energy and decent work, and also economic growth. And there were also some really great examples shared on Twitter using the hashtag SDG Teach In. And here, Kiel SU, Students' Union, showed how they discussed all things sustainable and fast fashion within their climate cafe. It's really great that they showed pictures as well to see exactly what was happening, and really helped us to see how they were integrating that too. And also here, the University of Exeter also shared on Twitter, and they had an episode on their Career Zone podcast that was dedicated specifically for the SDG Teach In. And it included recent graduates sharing their advice on how to enter the green sector, and also how the SDGs can relate to their career planning. So this is a really great example of Kiel embedding the SDGs into both the subliminal and informal curriculum as well. So it'd be really great if you could share any other case studies or initiatives that you ran at your own institution during the teaching. And yeah, you can unmute or use a comment box to share. It'll be really great to see what you did throughout the teaching as well. And yeah, so you can fill out your case study template as well if you haven't already done that. That would be fab. So you can write in the chat box or unmute. It'll be great to hear from you. Yeah, I think that was really great as well. It's really good, especially with primary school students. It's really good to kind of get their families involved as well, and get them going home and talking about it and getting everybody else involved. I think that's really great as well. Okay, so if we don't have any sharing, that's okay. But yeah, as has been posted in the chat box, my email address is there, and you'll get that at the end of the slides as well. So if you do think of any case studies that you did or initiatives that you did during the teaching, it'd be really great to see them and what you did. So I'll move on. So just to go through the programs that we run. So for us at SOS-UK, as ESD, or Education for Sustainable Development, is beyond the teaching, and we need to deliver it all year round and not just 3 years during 3 weeks of the year. So we run a range of campaigns and programs, and also different workshops, and also consultancy to support staff and students to lead on and learn for sustainability within the education sector. So we have Responsible Futures, and this is a whole institution supported accreditation, and this is mainly to mark to embed social responsibility and sustainability into the formal and informal learning as well across your institution. And we have For Good, which is an online platform to facilitate partnerships between students, organizations and institutions to undertake projects, dissertations and placements for social and environmental good. We also have Teach the Future, which is an inclusive campaign by secondary and tertiary education students. And this is to greatly improve education on the climate emergency and ecological crisis in the UK. And then we also have the Learning Academy as well. So this is our hub of learning and development, with a range of opportunities designed to progress sustainability across the education sector. And that mostly also includes climate carbon literacy training. So a lot of institutions come to us to deliver that. So if you are interested in that, then definitely get involved. So you can email us at hello@sos-uk.org as well, or directly to me as well. And yeah, it would be great to help you with that. I can see a few of you have posted things in the chat box. So let's see, Dancing, you said I have used clips, videos, but also my research papers on gender stereotyping to teach students the importance of gender equality. That's great. This was for a leadership module to teach final year business management students. Yeah, that's really great. And I really like how, you know, it's related, but not related to business management. It's like kind of integrating everything to do with the SDGs and business and all of that together. I think that's really great, especially using something that's a lot more accessible through videos as well. Like, I think that's really great. Thank you for sharing that. And Kathy, that's really interesting. Ran a pledge Padlet, okay, so that staff could see and be inspired by others' ideas and work. So once educators had pledged, they added an outline of this on the Padlet. Hopefully it will encourage others next year as it leaves a record of ideas and SDG work done. That is a really good idea, Kathy. I think that is really great and probably something that we will definitely encourage educators to do next year, especially as we endeavour for it to really be bigger than it was this year. And I think that would be really great to kind of see what everybody else has done, and having that inspiration as well is really great to have. So thank you for sharing that, Kathy. So this is really great part for us to start with the reflections. So as the name of the webinar states, we really wanted to create a space for all of those involved in this year's teaching to kind of reflect on the impact of the campaign across your institution, and also how you plan to continue embedding the SDGs even after the campaign has finished as well. So I do have a Slido, and the main question is, what went well this year for the teaching? So you can join at slido.com, and there's a code, so 673853, and you can also scan the QR code as well. But if the Slido doesn't work, for you and you can't access it, you can also type in the chat box as well. But yeah, we'd just really like to see what went well for you this year for the teaching. Okay, so the first one, incorporating sustainability into assessment in an aquatic resource management module. That's really great. I like that a lot, definitely. That's great. Much more recognition of SDGs and their importance across the university. Yeah, that's really good. And that's something that we really wanted to achieve with the teaching. And, you know, especially when it comes to the importance of the SDGs and sustainability. We feel this is a really great way to do that. So it's really good that that has happened within the university as well. That's great. Do you have any more? Lots of areas to discuss, too many to fit into one short outreach session, definitely. I've now started incorporating it more into year-round teaching. Yeah, great. Yeah, we really wanted the teaching to be that main catalyst for that, and it's good that this has been a good starting point for you. Starting to see more focus on the tensions between the goals and critical analysis of this. Yeah, And, you know, critical analysis is a big part of that as well, especially in a range of different subjects too. Understanding where it kind of intercedes into each thing and each part of the subject is really important, and it's good that is recognised. The session went very well, teaching students to be managers, the importance of gender equality, to be ready to face 21st century business challenges. Yes, really great. Thank you for sharing that, definitely. Yeah, gender equality is a big one, especially in all subjects, and that's great to see. Perhaps the first time getting senior manager buy-in to help encourage participation in the teaching. Yeah, so it's at all levels that we need this help, and having those who are at senior positions to really help spread this across a range of different institutions is really good. Second, the senior management point. Yes, yeah, I think because the teaching is, you know, quite a lot of institutions getting involved with it, and you know, you see quite a lot of other educators doing it too, and that really helps senior management see that it is something that is important, that needs to be embedded across university or institution as well. Great. So I'm just going to go on to the last part of the session, which is mostly for a broader discussion, really. So we'd love for you to use these questions as a starting point to really reflect on the impact of the SDG teaching at your specific institution. So you can use the space as a space to share learnings from other institutions as well, and how they promoted and engaged with the teaching. So the first question is, who was involved and how does it improve the take-up of the teaching? And as a few of you have mentioned already, having senior management is really influential. So it'd be great if you could talk about that a bit more in depth. The second question is, what would you do differently next year to increase the number of educators pledging as students reached at your institution? And the final question is, do you have any practical ideas to embed the SDGs for next year based on the case studies or examples that you've seen in this webinar? So I'll give you about 15 minutes to discuss this, and yeah, as well, please nominate someone to feedback as well, and we'll have a discussion about that. So I'll just pop you into breakout rooms. Hi everyone, welcome back. It's really good to see you all as well. Yeah, really good to see you all. Hopefully you had some really good discussions. It's okay if you didn't kind of go exactly to the questions, they were kind of just a starting point for that discussion. So yeah, it'd be really great if somebody could feedback. So we had the first room, which was Amanda, Kathy, and Chris. If somebody would like to feedback from there.
I'm happy to, if that's all right. I made a few notes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Khadija. So I think Chris was talking about a network of staff at Chester who had been involved over some time, and he was leading a professional development thing that engaged them all. And I think, Chris, you were saying about Zoom and the sort of online element being actually beneficial, getting people together and letting them connect a bit more around the goals and the teaching. And Amanda was talking about how there were lots of competing other agendas in the university that she found quite challenging. So employability or I think she said equality and diversity, lots of different things that made it a little bit more difficult. And for the second point, this idea of what would we do differently next year, I think Amanda was straight in with getting started earlier. She uses videos and was talking about perhaps getting that on the page before the busyness of the first semester starts and everything gets much more sort of clogged up. And Chris, did you talk about goals and goal setting, maybe having a sort of set number that your institution or your group could go for next time? So we're going to try and get past whatever it was last time. So have those internal goals. And the last point for practical ideas was maybe to have more updates as the goals, as the weeks progress, so that maybe something along the lines of a live feed or a Twitter feed or something like that, so people could see what was, what was going on, and be a bit more up to date with the information as it came, as it was happening. Who was pledging and which institutions were getting ahead, so you get a bit of momentum from that. And I thought as well, this idea of having a Padlet where everyone can actually see what's being done, and that would just give people confidence, really, perhaps those who hadn't had a chance to do a lot with sustainability, or just to see what other people are doing, and for that to be a kind of learning experience as well as your own individual sort of collective learning experience. I think that was it. Was there anything I missed out there?
Great, thank you, Kathy, and thank you everybody in that group for those really great points. And yeah, I definitely want to thank you for the feedback as well. Yeah, we definitely take that on board for next year, and we really hope to keep everybody up to date more regularly with those sort of things. And yeah, that sounds really great. Thank you very much for sharing, Kathy. Yeah, so can the next group share, please? So we had Irini, sorry if I say your name wrong, Sinichi, ST, and also, I don't know if, I know that's not your name, but your device name is Techno BC3. If people in that group would like to feedback, please.
Hi, I can talk on behalf of us.
Yes, please, thank you.
I think we had more people from schools compared to university, so I think it was a little bit different experience probably. About the process of pledging, I think some said that it may be different than one person represents a whole university or a school compared to having many different tutors, for example, pledging. So it can be, I guess, experienced differently from the ones participating in that. We talked more about increasing the number of educators as well, starting from that point. From university experiences, I think there is also a lot of challenges in terms of crossing disciplinary boundaries and how we can actually make different departments work together for those pledges instead of asking independently each person to think of their own practice alone. What would we do differently? I'm not sure we talked so much about improving, let's say, or changing a lot, but more about what we can practically do, or what kind of approaches. So someone in the group talked about teacher training, or developing, in a sense, material to support teachers to be able to deliver relevance of the SDGs to their work, and to understand the importance of it for the students in the future. And also practical ideas, the last point. I think we talked more about where we can find case studies and what kind of case studies may be actually useful for each type of learning and level of learning. So yeah, shared some things about the SDSN network and UN SDG Academy, but happy to hear from you as well about resources. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. And yeah, I think you raised a really great point there as well about, there's a range of different types of institutions that are involved as well. And yeah, it would be good for us to kind of really hone in on how different institutions do things differently, especially at primary level, and those different, especially training ones as well, and a range of different ways to do that. So yeah, definitely we'll take that on board, and hopefully we can accommodate that next year as well. Sorry, what was that last point you made about resources? Sorry, Irini, if you want to.
I think it's more around case studies or having examples that one can use in class as material to develop, in a sense, critical thinking, or ask questions to their group around some of the issues. And of course, this would differ according to the levels or the discipline.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I think that is definitely something that we're planning to do for next year as well, because we noticed that is something that quite a few people were asking about too. So yeah, next year we'll definitely try and do that. And we have been getting some quite good case studies as well from a range of different institutions. So we'll see if we can go about sharing that from this year, so that you can use that as a way to kind of develop something for next year as well. I hope that answers your question. And it seems like Kathy shared something in the chat box as well, which might be helpful for you. Great, so I'll move on to the last group, which was Katie, Lucy, Mandy and Nazanin. If someone would like to feedback from that group, please.
I'll feedback for our group. So we didn't really follow the questions too well, but I'll try and answer the first anyway. Mandy had mentioned in our group at UHI, there was a small group within their department that really was passionate about this and pushed it forward. But we didn't really touch on how the rest of us did it. I personally I'm not in an institution. I support institutions to do it, so I was kind of just a listening ear on this. But just to go through kind of what everyone in our group did, Katie worked by incorporating illegal fishing into her teaching, which touched on lots of different SDGs. And then at the end of the year assessed it using kind of an essay format, which I thought was a really interesting way to do it. And then Nazanin did the gender equality and did that in 2 sessions. And the first session was quite a subtle session where she didn't really say that it was about the SDGs. They just kind of learned about her research. And the second session, she then connected it to the SDGs. And I thought that was a really interesting way to do it, by having a whole session dedicated to how this is relevant to sustainability. Because I think we raised that maybe some students aren't aware of just how broad the SDGs are, and other agendas such as gender equality might not come to their mind when they think of sustainability. So taking that session to really think about that, I thought was a really interesting idea. And then Mandy was in English Lit, and how she did it was she allowed her students to look through the SDGs and actually choose the one that resonated most with them, and then created a character around that and actually wrote a story as if that character was being affected by that SDG, which sounds really immersive and is a really great way to get the arts involved. And beyond that, they're hoping to actually take that further and use it in future assessments. So not just doing it for the teaching, but actually taking it further. So yeah, those are really interesting case studies.
Great, thank you, Lucy, for sharing. And yeah, some really great case studies there, as you say, definitely. I really like that, Mandy, as well, with getting the students to draw of what resonates with them the most and creating a story. I think that's really great. Really love that. Hopefully works well for the students and they enjoy doing that as well. That's really good to see. I'm glad to hear that. That's really great. We've got quite a few things in the chat box. Lucy, I saw what you said. We are currently working on a project to look into monitoring and evaluating education for sustainable development at HE. So that is a question we are asking too. Do we measure based on how well students embody their competencies, or is there a better way to see the effectiveness? Yeah, but myself and my colleague were just talking about this as well. It's really, it's one of those which is quite complex to kind of figure out the effectiveness and how you measure that, because there's so many different ways to measure things, especially when it's so complex and interconnected. It's how do we do that? And we were thinking that mostly with the students and how they kind of take on, what we were talking about, the skills and what kind of skills that they gain from learning about sustainability through the SDGs is really important. But yeah, it's definitely something that could be expanded on more to see how else can we see effectiveness of these SDGs as well, and how do the UN as well, how do they specifically measure the effectiveness of it, and how can that be translated into the educational side of it too. But yeah, I think it's a great question. I saw somebody ask that question too, but I didn't get to refer to it. But yeah, definitely a great question there. Seems as though a few people put in Amanda, critical thinking. used this website measuring progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals, and we looked at which countries had made most and least progress and why, linked to several case studies, often of countries which I haven't thought about. That's really good. I've not seen that one before, but it's good that there's a way to see how they've made progress with the SDGs as well, and get students thinking about that too, as well. It's really important and really good to see that, especially in terms of critical thinking, which is really key with the SDGs too. Great. Thank you so much for your contributions with that. Hopefully you found that as really useful conversations to have and as a starting point, and also to see how you can kind of continue to embed the SDGs as well, not just through the teaching, but throughout the teaching year as well. So just to finish up, I'll be going through some dates for your diary for next year. So it will be commencing on the Monday, the 27th of February, and it will be running through to the 31st of March, 2023. So as I said here, we'll be wanting it to be bigger and better. So it will be running for a month, and this is to make it more accessible to educators. So this doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do something every single day during that month, but this is so that you have more time to plan and deliver, and also to reflect as well. And this is just based off feedback that we've had from a range of different educators, saying that this is something that they want, and because it's such a big thing that they want to do and get involved with, having more time to do that is really great. So you will get the links to the slides at the end, so you can press the link to pledge for next year as well, and you can do that from now. I see that someone asked, how can critical thinking relate to that of traditional SDG teaching? So yeah, critical thinking is a really important skill to have when discussing sustainability, and because there's so many different areas and how everything is interconnected, and really thinking critically at how people are affected and who is affected, and all of those different interconnectedness is really important way of you have to think critically in order to do that. I don't know, somebody else would be able to answer that better, but hopefully that answers your question as well. So yeah, just to finish up, I had this quote which I thought was really great to consider. So Kofi Annan, who was a former Ghanaian Secretary General of the UN from 1997 to 2006, said that our biggest challenge in this new century is to take an idea that seems abstract, sustainable development, and turn it into a reality for all the world's people. So hopefully you'll find this webinar really helpful, and just to see the reach of the teaching and how significant it actually has been this year, and hopefully you'll be part of it next year as well. And also don't forget to pledge for next year, and also we look forward to seeing more of your case studies as well. So yeah, thank you very much for attending. Hope you have a lovely afternoon. And also, if you have anything else related to ESD that you'd like to get involved with what we do, please contact us. So we've got the Director of Education, Meg, there's Sonia as well, who's a Senior Project Manager, and also myself as well, who's a Project Manager for Education. So yeah, it's been really great to have you all here today. It'd be great to see you. So hopefully you have a great rest of your afternoon too. Thanks everyone. Thanks all. Take care.
Thanks very much, Khadija.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.